Hi, greetings to all of you. I hope that you guys are having a great summer. And so I just wanted to give a little bit more information on kind of our class arrangement this next year and our staff, following up the email that I sent out. Earlier this year, we had expected both Janice Snow and Ali Bravo to be back. And so we were excited to have them back on staff, but I'm sure it came as a surprise to all of us to learn there in May that the Lord's moving both of them on. We're so excited for Mrs. Bravo to be having her first child, but they feel that they need to stay home and take care of their child, and it would be difficult for her to teach for us. And then an unexpected announcement from the Snows to be moving on to a different ministry up in Washington State, and so we just learned of that in May. So both of these were kind of end of the year changes for us, but when I look at these types of changes over the years, I just have found that there are opportunities to see God provide, and so our dependence is on Him, our trust in Him. And so once again, we go to our knees in prayer and just ask God for guidance on how He wants Calvary Christian School to operate. We're very confident that God has established the school and has blessed it, and He wants us to continue. So our prayer to the Lord is just this: God, show us the path forward. How do you want us to fill these staff needs? And so right at the end of school, the day before graduation, we learned from Slava Starikov, that he had accepted our invitation to come and teach. And I had been talking to him for over a year on that type of topic. So you should have heard the cheers of the staff who have gotten to know him a little bit on how excited people were to hear that he was going to come and be on our staff. And so he's going to teach in the 5th and 6th grade. And so I think you'll appreciate him as much as our staff has grown to love and appreciate him. He's a great guy, and it'll also just be nice to have a male presence in the elementary. And he's a gifted teacher, and we're looking forward to great things from him. And there will be a little bit of a delay in him getting here, we're anticipating, because we have to work on immigration visas. And so we're working with an immigration lawyer, and we're anticipating that he probably will come sometime in mid to late September if the typical timeline turns out to be the case for him. I'm going to be teaching the 5th and 6th grade classroom in his absence at the beginning. So I'm looking forward to that. Right at the end of the school year, I actually did quite a bit of substitute teaching in the 5th and 6th grade because Mrs. Snow got sick there over a 2-week period. And so that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to helping get that class set up. So I'll do all the preparations for that class here during the summer. And then in the school year, I'm going to continue teaching the science class in that room, as that was my undergrad major. And also Slava, he's well educated, but he's learned his science terms in Russian. And so that's not an area where he came to the United States and studied science per se to be caught up to date on the English terminology. So we thought it best for me to go ahead and teach the science class in that room and probably have him cover some things in the upper grades in place of that. And Mrs. Gridley will continue to teach math in that room. And so we look forward to that. We think we're going to have a good school year. And then as far as the 1st and 2nd grade goes, we're going to continue searching for, a 1st grade teacher for down the road. But the path that I see the Lord leading us on right now is to do something we did the year before this past school year that worked out really well when Mrs. Reed oversaw the 1st and 2nd grade that were in 2 different rooms. And so I'm kind of standing outside those 2 rooms here, and I'm going to go inside the 1st room here where the 2nd grade were last year and where they'll continue to be, and just share a quick thought or two about how 2nd grade will work. Well, we're just excited about the 1st and 2nd grade staff that we have, as we are about Slava. We're so thankful that Miss Kate Butler came to us 2 school years ago, and she actually helped Mrs. Reed in that 1st and 2nd grade group, and started teaching some of the courses in that 2nd grade group during that year. And so we're just excited about the experience that she had in how this is set up. It worked out really well. And so she'll do what Mrs. Reed just did. That is, Miss Butler will oversee the 2 rooms. Right behind me here, you have that adjoining door to the rooms. And so the teachers can move back and forth between the 2 rooms without much problem. And so Miss Butler will be in one room teaching while Mrs. Eckhart will come over to 1st and 2nd grade for next year, and she'll be able to monitor, supervise the room that Miss Butler is not in. This next year's kindergarten class is pretty small, and so we don't need a full-time aide out there this next year like we did this last year. So we're so glad to have Mrs. Eckhart here and being able to come over and be a partner with Miss Butler in these 2 rooms. So one of them will be in one room while the other is in the other room, and we'll have some extra teacher aide help on top of that we're working right now on finalizing. So along those lines, we're glad to have Mrs. Angela Miranda is going to be here 3 days a week as a teacher's aide, and then I've got some others that are in talks right now, lining up the teacher aide help that we think we'll need this next year. So this has worked really well, and we think it's going to be a great solution to our needs for this current year. And then we're just excited to see what the Lord plans for us long term. Does He send to us another full-time teacher that we can plug in this year, or perhaps maybe He waits until next year to give us one? But we would anticipate eventually having a 1st grade teacher again, and doing it the way we did last year. And then potentially down the road, even splitting 3rd and 4th grade, which has been our hopes. And we're just waiting for the Lord's timing on that, when He will allow us to split grades 3 and 4. So I hope that gives you a little bit better idea about how the classes will be run. But other than that, the kids in 1st and 2nd grade, they still do the same curriculum, the same work. They're not combined together for any subjects, except perhaps things like maybe PE class together, or maybe a few of the extracurriculars. But other than that, they would operate very similarly to the way it normally would be. The main difference is that Miss Butler will move back and forth between the rooms and be the teacher in the 2 rooms, and then have the aides also moving back and forth as needed to help the kids with doing their seat work, learning their assignments, and of course when Mrs. Butler in there teaching the lessons. And so feel free to give us a call if you have any questions, but hope this gives you a good idea of how things are going to go. Take care and have a good day.